Throughout human history, we have been dependent on machines to survive.
Marketing Tech Blog.
We might be setting the standard just a little bit too high with that intro.
I'm just saying. How's the weather up there, Doug?
Wow, the oxygen's a little light. This week on the Marketing Tech Blog, one of the articles that I wrote, tongue-in-cheek, but it was meant to be, is I said because Google said so.
Yeah.
And basically, if you've been watching this week in the SEO industry, one of the things that happened was Google basically killed another company for backlinking. Backlinking is basically, for people that don't know, is the way that you get ranked on a site is based on authority, and that authority from Google's early days was based on the number of people that linked to you and the keywords that they used when they were linking to you. Backlinking is incredibly important, and it's still part of everybody's SEO strategy. It's a great way to quantify whether your SEO efforts are working or not. If you're producing backlinks, it means that you're producing good content. People are talking about you, and you're growing.
People are sharing your information.
Right, but the problem comes when people actually start buying that authority and they start paying for that, which is a lucrative industry. It's a huge industry. I don't know that there's not too many people that haven't participated in that industry.
Yeah.
Google created the problem and is now trying to backpedal and fix it. But basically, so Google bombed this company, Interflora, I think it was, out of the UK, I think, that they were giving away free flowers or free bouquets or whatever to any blogger that wrote about them. And of course, when they wrote about them, they would have a nice strong backlink, there. And so they got destroyed. Google basically de-indexed them, de-indexed everybody that linked to them. I mean, it was mass hysteria
people were jumping out of buildings and everything.
Dogs and cats living together, total anarchy.
The flower industry collapsed in Europe.
All during Valentine's, right?
Yeah, but more importantly was the after. SEO guys really get a little bit irritated when Google just makes and jumps on something like that. And so Aaron Wall is our hero of the day, hero of the week, maybe the month at SEO Book. He basically said, within 10 minutes, he went out and he found Google rich backlinks on editorial, advertorial content, they call it. So sponsored content. And he found it for Chromebook, for AdWords, for all kinds of Google properties.
Well, let me get this straight. Google was asking for bloggers to give them information and backlink to different Google properties and offering up stuff to those contributors. Right?
Exactly. And they would have a big sign there that said, this is sponsored by Google, but they would still have a rich backlink within it that was not what we call no-followed. Basically, there's code behind the page that basically tells Google, don't follow this link. We don't want to pass authority.
Right.
It's a paid link. It's that type of thing. But Google themselves, and literally he has a great article, and then Search Engine Land followed up on it. And then Google came back and said, you're right. We're doing it. And now it remains to be seen. I haven't seen whether they've actually dropped some of those sites, but I do believe some of the actual Google sites have started to be getting dropped. But it points to the problem, right? And that's that the pressure is there. The pressure is on for marketers to get these backlinks. The way that you do it is if you have a good campaign of content distribution and blogger outreach and everything else. But any day you're going to get you're going to get smacked. And so my post is called Because Google Told You So. There's and it goes beyond even that. It goes into even beyond backlinking, but even the whole SEO industry as a whole. A lot of times when we're in the room with people, they'll argue with us about SEO and I understand their point of view. Their point of view is you're asking me to rip apart my entire site. You're asking me to redevelop it. You're asking me to get my engineering team and prioritize, sitemap building or dynamic this or whatever. Tell me what exactly that's going to improve. And I go, because Google told you so. That's that's the measurement. I
That
can't.
was a bumper sticker.
If I knew the algorithm and I knew how the winds were moving, and if I knew how all of your competitors were going to adjust their sites in the next couple weeks, and I could magically make some Excel spreadsheet, that could tell me this, we'd be billionaires.
I'm
right?
thinking so.
But the trick to SEO, the hard part of SEO, is what we talk about on this show, and that's that every single week Google modifies the rules, adjusts the rules, changes the algorithms, warns people.
Right.
And then within Webmaster Tools, they warn you and give you alerts and tell you where your errors are. And they continuously provide this ongoing information. If you don't have an agency like Site Strategics that's basically disseminating that information and figuring out what the impact will be to your site, and the impact is based on how other people in the SEO industry are watching their sites go up and down, and then how you're seeing your own customers go up and down, you're in trouble.
More importantly, if whoever may be managing your own internet marketing, if they're not paying attention to what's happening in these different environments, then they're a little bit clueless. They're not keeping abreast of the changes that are happening.
But the fact is it's because Google said so.
That's right.
That's why we're doing this. We're going to help you with the priority, but we're doing it because Google said so. And I don't know why there has to be an answer greater than that.
70% of the market, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Doug, what about, so if we imagine that nofollow is sort of the machine readable equivalent of disclosure, conceptually, is this yet another opportunity to include human readable disclosure?
Yeah, I mean, folks like Comply,
absolutely.
They're out of Chicago, right?
Out of New York, but have a Chicago office.
Yeah, Comply, if you guys haven't seen it, cmp.ly, basically they have like a graphical indicator. So if there's an article or if there's anything, you can say why you wrote that article, whether you had any type of monetary relationship, any type of relationship with that company at all, whether your company was affiliated with that company at all. And what they're trying to do is kind of formalize a disclosure program for the industry. And I think it's a great idea. They're tuning it and fine tuning it, and making it better. But ultimately, it's because if you can go buy authority, you're going to go buy it. It's $1 million game. I'm sure Interflora. I think that's the company. If it's not, I'm in trouble. But I'm sure they got tens of millions of dollars in flower sales because they game the system. They're at the bottom of the index now. They'll come back. They'll apologize. They'll stop doing it. Did they really get, nailed? I don't know. I don't know if it wasn't worth it or not worth it. That's for them to talk about. So some of the other things on the blog, I think that's just a big important one. It's a giant one out there. But my advice and our advice to our clients is always, Google said to do it, do it.
Because Google said so.
Because Google said so. Some of the other things, FormStack has a really cool integration with Dropbox. They're a client of ours, but pretty cool. If you ever want to take a Dropbox form and make it public where someone can drop files into, FormStack has a one-click integration with Dropbox. So we have information on that.
Awesome.
We talk about Reachly, REACH.li. It's a visual advertising network. So where these other guys like Outbrain are contextual advertising and everything else, this one is like for Pinterest, where you can get additional views of your information. Ramp, for all your WordPress users out there, this is a pretty cool tool. It's a migration tool for deployment of content between WordPress servers. So if you've ever tried to do that, it's fun. So
right.
What these guys have basically created was where you could have a staging environment and then a production environment, and you could use it kind of as a workflow. So you could publish things on your staging and then
be selective on what gets moving.
Yeah, and it has a rollback and everything else. So
awesome.
Yeah, so pretty cool. There's an infographic out there for Magento versus OS Commerce versus OpenCart, and a few more articles out there that you shouldn't miss.
the wealth of information that's on Marketing Tech Blog. I tell you what, it is incredible. Thank you so much, Doug.
You're welcome.